Good evening. I'm Wardell Montgomery Jr., and our guest is the Reverend David Jordan Nelson Jr. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Let's see, I understand that you are the father of the rappers, and how did that come about, and tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, the father of the rappers is a title, as I've shared with a number of people. It's a title, just like most performing acts take some kind of title. You know, there's a performer out there named Prince. You know, that's his name, Prince. So it's a title that I have, and I took the title because of the Last Poets being recognized as the first rap group. And as I saw this movement beginning to develop in kind of in the wake of the Last Poets and things of that nature, the cultural arts movement, I saw this movement beginning to develop called rap. And I was concerned about the direction in which it was going, so I wrote a poem in which I said I was the father of the rappers and I had something to say to the young rappers.
So when did this actually start, this whole rap or hip-hop and all of that, as far as you understand it?
Well, I think if you want to trace it, as I've said often, you don't want to take over much credit because we've been rapping ever since, as old as the race is. You know, you have people like, what was that, Chicago, the Hawk, Chicago, which was a rap. What's the name?
Well, even like Signifying Monkey?
No, the song.
Oh, Lou Rawls?
Lou Rawls.
Okay.
On the Hawk, and he was rapping on this thing.
Right.
Then you have Oscar Brown Jr. Who's constantly, and like you said, we've been doing, standing on the corner doing things like the Signifying Monkey. So we've been doing this for a long time. But at a certain point, the Last Poets moved into prominence, and we began to perform, and we went on television, and we made recordings. And I think a lot of people saw this, and some of them began to pick up on what was happening, and it eventually evolved into what is today called rap or hip-hop.
So that sort of gave birth to the rap as we know it today.
Yeah, a lot of people see it that way, and I think that's pretty accurate, that the Last Poets were kind of like the fathers of rap.
So who are or were the Last Poets, and what are some of the names for those of us who may not remember?
Okay, the Last Poets is an are rather than a were.
I see.
As a matter of fact, we've had some disputes over who actually comprised the Last Poets for a number of years, and recently we met at kind of a summit to kind of bury the hatchet between some warring factions. There are 7 men that I personally recognize as the Last Poets. I was the one who gave birth to the name Last Poets, May 19, 1968, and on Malcolm X's birthday was when we first began. There were 3 of us then. That's Garland Kane, Chuck Davis, who later changed his name to Abiodun Oyewole, and myself, David Jordan Nelson. We were the original 3. Later on, shortly thereafter, Felipe Luciano entered into our workshop and finally became a member of the group. Then when some of the disputes arose, we had 2 other young men in our workshop. That was Omar bin Hassan and Jalaluddin Mansour Nuruddin. They each had different names then, but these are the names they have now. They were in the workshop, so in the dispute, Abiodun organized them into a group, and Felipe, Kane, and I were organized into a group, so there were 2 groups of 3 each. Later on, Abiodun went to jail, and Suleiman El Hadi took his place, and then he became the 7th member. So there's 7. Now there's some other people that I could even mention who have performed once or twice with the Last Poets, but those are the 7 fundamental members, plus our original drummer was Elijah. And of course, in the movie, Carlos Cuevas and Gene Ballard served as drummers, so really 7 poets. And,
Altogether.
And 1 central drummer plus 2 other very important drummers.
Now, some people mentioned Gil Scott-Heron. His name seems to come up as a member. Can you kind of clear that up from us?
Gil Scott is the first offshoot of the Last Poets, in a sense. He was the first person to actually be literally influenced by the Last Poets, and he was closely tied to the Last Poets. And like we do in our music, he, when he entered into his career, The Last Poets had made a recording, and on the recording, Abiodun had a poem in which he said, "When the revolution comes," some of us will probably catch it on TV with chicken hanging out our mouth. You know it's revolution because there won't be no commercial. Gil Scott did a response to that poem, and his response became more famous than When the Revolution Comes, although I still to this day believe that When the Revolution Comes is more accurate. Gil Scott said the revolution will not be televised. In other words, Abiodun said when it comes we'll catch it on TV. Gil Scott said no, the revolution will not be televised. And realistically, for those who participate, it won't be televised. But for most of us, we'll be sitting in our armchairs watching, and there'll be some people out there doing it.
So that's why people link him with your group.
Yes, because his poem was so on the money with ours. And of course, in the broadest sense, and that is that The Last Poets came out of a poem that I wrote. And I said, we are the last poets of the world, referring to the spiritual energy that we as a people bring to these times. And therefore, in the broader sense, Gil Scott and all of the poets and all of the artists are part of the Last Poets.
So during that time, so which of your poems would you say was more famous or more became sort of a signature of you as being one of the last poets?
Well, I think my poem, Die Nigger, became actually the signature of the Last Poets. More people were moved by Die Nigger than I think any other poem. Everyone has their favorite. I mean, there's a lot. We did a performance, and one guy said, "Boy, I wanted to hear Beyonder." Another guy said, "I wanted to hear The Library." You know, so everybody has a favorite. But I think, as far as a signature, Die Nigger became the signature. It was when we made the movie Right On. It was very prominent in the movie. When we did our first television performance, it was really a key thing. When we did our very first television performance on the old Soul Show on public television.
What was that show like, the Soul Show?
It was a variety show, much like some of what you've done, a variety kind of thing. So, and we were on there with, boy, what is the lady's name? Williams is her last name. Miriam Williams, I believe is her name. She was a gospel singer, and once we had done Die Nigger, I mean, the whole, she rocked the house with her gospel song, because Die Nigger it's an exorcism of niggerisms. And,
maybe we might like to hear a little bit of it, or maybe not a little bit. Let's hear what it sounds like.
Well, I think it's appropriate also because it's in the center of controversy right now. The poem is in the center of some controversy. Yeah, I'll be glad to do it.
Okay, and then after you do that, then maybe share with us what that controversy is about. And I think this poem, some of us may remember that recently it was in Westward, and like you were the cover story for Westward not too long ago.
Right, and the poem was published.
And the poem was published there. So let us hear what that sounds like.
Walking down on 42nd Street, heard some white folks talking. Had a riot yesterday, 10 niggers died. Die, nigger. Say what? 10 niggers died? Yeah, die, nigger. Went down to Whitehall Street. Heard a sergeant reporting, lots of niggers died in Vietnam. Die, nigger. Die, nigger. Nigger die. Had to get away from niggers dying all the time. Went back up to Harlem. Heard a school teacher say, niggers sure are dumb, almost like they're dead. Die, nigga. Everywhere you go, niggers dying. Niggas been dying for 400 years. Niggas dying with conked heads. Niggas dying in Ivy League suits. Niggas know how to die. Been dying for 400 years. Been practicing how to die. Niggas dying in prisons. Niggas dying on farms. Niggas dying in dirty rooms. Even learned how to die in mansions now. Big office buildings. Fancy dying. Niggas love dying. Build big funeral homes so dead nigga undertakers get rich burying dying niggas. Die, nigga. Niggas love dying. Niggas get shot. Die, nigga. Niggas get hung. Die, nigga. Niggas get lynched. Die, nigga. Niggas get tarred and feathered. Niggas get boiled in oil. Niggas get carried out of their own homes. Niggas watch their wives get raped. Watch their babies get stomped. Then niggas watch some redneck hunky stand over them and laugh. Laughing, talking about, die, nigga. Actually laughing. Cigar in his mouth, wine bottle in his hand, laughing, talking about, die, nigga. Well, go on and die, nigga. You've been dying for 400 years. Niggas love dying. Niggas don't know nothing else but dying. Niggas watch dying on TV. They love it. Niggas watch other niggas die. They love it. Niggas, preachers tell niggas about heaven. Got to die first. Die, nigga. Niggas love dying. Niggas don't know nothing else but dying. Niggas dream about dying. Niggas plan beautiful lives for when they're dead. Die, nigga. Niggas watched Emmett Till die. Niggas watch Medgar Evers die. Niggas watch James Chaney die. Niggas watch Bobby Hutton die. Niggas watch Malcolm die. Niggas watch Martin die. Niggas watch niggas 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 die. 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 Niggas. So black folks can take over and live.
Well, that's powerful. Now,
it's a sentiment that I think expresses an important aspect of our lives. That before we were on camera, we were talking with one of the brothers who said, "Well, there's a little nigga in all of us," and that's the exact purpose of the poem. That something is in us that needs to be overcome and transcended. And it's oftentimes accurately described as the nigger element in us, because it's something that has been imposed upon us. And so if we can die to that, if we can exorcise the niggerisms, then we can rise to another level. And what we speak of as a black man and speak of as African American can only give birth once the nigger is gone. And I hope that NWA is listening.
Now, how would you describe your art, and how does that contrast to NWA or some of the other rappers that may be considered by some as maybe negative connotations, or in terms of explicit sexual conquest? And how do you distinguish?
It's very simple. First of all, NWA, Niggers with Attitude, and I will give them that much play to mention their name in an interview that I have, simply because I think that they are young men who have the potential to be a positive force in the community. I don't think they've adopted that potential as of yet, because I don't think that you can be positive if you call yourself a nigger. I think that every nigger has a master. I've never seen a nigger yet that didn't have a master. And they've proven that they have masters also, by their no comment. You know, when that article was written, they had no comment.
Now, they actually use or sample some of your work. You want to explain that a little bit?
Well, rap, it's a common thing in rap to sample work. And as the industry evolves, there will become some standards set. Right now, it's kind of hard. And so it's catch as catch can. So I have my underground out listening for my voice. And when it's heard, I approach the people through my lawyers and tell them, you use some of my copywritten material, I would appreciate it if you would compensate me for that. In most cases, this is sufficient. However, there is a way in which things can be done. There's a rapper called Too Short who used some portions of Die Nigger. He put a beautiful musical track down and put Die Nigger on top and said, we want all y'all to see how the original rappers kick it, if you like to hear the N-word used. And I thought it was a beautiful usage. Whereas as opposed NWA, because they want to assert their right to be niggers, they took my voice, my poem, without my permission, and used it as a straw man, as a foil, against which they made the assertion that they are niggers who don't die. When my voice was saying die nigger, they were saying real niggas don't die. And then followed that with a lot of very negative assertions about who they were as niggers. Even if they had did something like Felipe years ago in Hebero, he said, Hebero, my pretty nigger. In other words, he used nigger in the kind of affectionate connotation. They never use it that way. They use it in the simple following up of the bad nigger. You see, the master, as I said, every nigger has a master. The master always wants two kinds of niggers to exist. And that is the scratching, shuffling nigger or the bad nigger. So, because he can use the bad nigger as an example when the time comes, and the scratching, shuffling nigger will come along and say, that's right, boss, that's what you're supposed to do. And so these guys are held up by their masters, by their handlers as bad niggers. And they go do everything they can to assert that they're bad niggers, including threatening people. You know, and this is what they've done. You know, they talk about killing people and It's a part of what the media has always done to us. They tried to do it with The Last Poet. The Last Poets have a very broad look at, a loving look at black culture. We look at black culture and we show our love towards it. We show our possessiveness for it, so we're willing to fight to protect it. And so they take this idea that we're bold black men, and they try to turn it into bad niggas. But I think we're smart enough to avoid that. Whereas these young men, I don't think they have been smart enough to avoid that. And so what they've done is they've included me in an assertion which I do not want to be a part of, and they have no right. And that's why they're being sued for $10 million, because they have no right to include me in that assertion, and particularly to denigrate my work, which is what they've done. They've denigrated it. And I hope that when we go to court, which I undoubtedly we will go to court, because I doubt if they're going to come up with $10 million, and I'm certainly not going to settle for anything less. And I think when we go to court, first of all, they got to apologize for dissing me publicly. I mean, they can do all they want. They can say they're all the niggas they want to be, as long as my voice, they use my voice on their record without my permission, copywritten copies of my voice off of our album Right On.
Okay, so in other words, there's a lot more to it than just the suit for using your work. It's just in terms of how they're misusing you, your work, your art.
Right, exactly. We believe, myself and my legal staff, the people that I work with, lawyers, we believe that I have a right to have my copywritten material used in the way in which it was intended. And when it is misused, that it threatens damage to my career as a poet and performer, and it threatens to leave a legacy for my grandchildren that's undesirable. And so this matter must be cleared up, and they must apologize. They have no choice. There's no possibility for a settlement until they apologize. I'm willing to debate them. We can go on national TV and debate the merits of being niggers and black men, and I think I can stand up before them, and I warn them that I've been around for a while.
So it can be an education for all of us then.
Well, that's another thing. I offer to take these young men under my wings and educate them, because and I'd say to their handlers, to their bosses, you don't have the capacity to direct black culture. And they have all white managerial staff. They don't have the capacity to direct black culture, and they need to turn it over to someone who has a greater capacity. And I can guarantee you that NWA will become a positive force if they were under my wings.
So what are your plans in terms of working with young rappers, your plans as a poet, or your plans with the Last Poets? Just what do you see for yourself over the next few years?
Well, number one, first and foremost in my plans is my service to God. All of what I'm doing, all of what I have done, is based upon my commitment to God. In Malachi it says, what does God require of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. And that's sort of a overlay on my career, that justice is important to God. And we don't live right now in a just society. And a lot of people try to say that that's not the realm of religion or of Christianity. But God is a God of justice, and Martin Luther King stood up for that. And in the same way, I stand up for that. So I see, number one, my ministry becoming much more evident in my art. I see, number two, the Last Poets have come together. And I see us moving into a more prominent position vis-a-vis the rap movement. Although, as I try to emphasize, our culture, popular culture, always takes black culture and turns it into either sex or violence. And so I think we can do something better than that.
So you feel that as a minister, that you can give it more a spiritual reference then?
Yes, I think that's a very important thing to do, to give a spiritual reference.
It sounds very good. I think we can all really learn a lot from this. Would you like to share with us another poem?
Well, I wrote a poem, one of many poems that I've thought about, but this is an early draft of a poem that I wrote in response to NWA's theft.
Okay.
And you know, people say, you hear the hip hop say, well, what's that about, man? You know, so I said, well, what's it about? And it goes like this. And the subtitle is A Mule and a Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
It's about nigger and Niger. The difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about Niger and nigger. And the difference is getting bigger. Because a mule works in the heat of the day, foolishly giving his life away. A tiger crouches in the cool of the night, waiting for his prey to come into sight. It's about nigger and Niger. The difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about Niger and nigger. And the difference is getting bigger. The Bible uses Niger to refer to a man. His skin is black and his roots African. The dictionary says nigger is something low, easy to be used because his mind's so slow. It's about nigger and Niger, the difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about Niger and nigger, and the difference is getting bigger. It's about nigger, about dying, about thugs and money and love and hate. It's about nigger, about who is and who ain't, and what it is to be, yeah, and even not to be. It's about giving birth to yourself. It's about nigger and Niger, about where you come from and who you are and what you're going to do. About nigger and Niger and the difference between them and the difference between them and us and what it is and what it's about and the gutter and winos and blues and blue shooting red and red shooting blue and white laughing patriotic laughter in between. It's about nigger and Niger. The difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about niggers and mules and tigers, about being mules and fools and being used and crude, but mainly about nigger. And ain't nothing cute about it, because niggers get boiled in oil. It's about nigger and Niger, the difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about Niger and nigger, and the difference is getting bigger. It's about nigger, all right, about nigger boys too far gone to respect a father. About nigger men who survived in some distorted fashion without a father. It's about niggers and mules and love and hate, about sterility and virility and mules, and that ass don't love that mare. He's just looking for a feeling. It's about nigger. Young men spouting ghetto platitudes, some claiming they got attitudes, never showing any gratitude, trying to take a lot of latitude into somebody else's life. Never read Beatitudes. They think a unholy gun is stronger than a holy knife. It's about nigger and Niger. The difference between a mule and a tiger, it's about Niger and nigger, and the difference is getting bigger. On the map, we see Niger as the name of a rich river, bringer of peace and a great life giver. In the world, we see nigger referred to as a mule and a low-life person to be used as a tool. It's about nigger and Niger. The difference between a mule and a tiger. It's about Niger and nigger, and the difference is getting bigger.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think this will just about wrap it up. So it's been a real pleasure for you to share this wisdom with us.
I'm glad to be here with you.
All right.
You're wonderful.
Call 573-5910 to learn how you can become part of Denver Community Television.